Hello, everybody, and welcome again to another episode of The Cheer Guys. I'm Daniel Satterfield, and we have an awesome special episode that we're doing today, the week after UCA College Nationals. Real quick word about our sponsors. We are presented by Cheer and Dance Battles. They are a competition company that does international partner stunt, group stunt, and individuals competitions for everyone around the world, bringing them together virtually. And by Coachable, it's a app that is built specifically for sports. That's every sport, not just cheer. For coaches to download, put their profiles on, and they can actually get paid through the app for their knowledge. They put the price for their knowledge on there. They can put drill videos. You can send them videos of your athletes, and they can analyze it in any of those sports. And then the coach gets paid directly from any of that those in-app purchases they send to them. I am joined today, as always, by Mr. Chase Brett, the man of the hour, the old school UCA guru himself, and I'm so excited about what we're doing. Chase, how are we, boss? What's going on? Talk to me.
Yeah, man, we're here. Another special guest episode, like you said, right after a big college championship down in Orlando. We've reached out to a couple of these programs, and a couple of them were kind enough to spend some time with us and do some interviews. And so another one of our national championship interviews right here in person. We have the Open Co-Ed Game Day National Championship coach from Grand Canyon University. Thanks, Keegan Hubbard, for joining us. We appreciate you, man.
Glad to be here, guys. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hey, man, we know what it's like. Have you fully recovered from the UCA hangover of coming back and being home? It's only Thursday after. It takes a couple of days to recover, man. Are you still catching up on sleep?
You know what? I would say that I'm catching up on sleep, but with a new baby that we just had on the fit, I think it's still just lack of. But I would still say that I probably got more sleep with the nationals than I did with the baby. Just to be honest with you. Now, here's a plot twist.
So you took a break going to nationals,
right? Exactly. Well, and here's a plot twist for you. So my wife and I actually decided that it was better that I stay home this year. So I actually sent my assistant coach. She was, planning on going to nationals anyways, but just with our baby being a little bit early, I actually sent my assistant coach, Ashley Aquilina, great coach, along with some alumni, to go and actually do it. So the whole entire time, every single hour of the day, I was actually on Zoom or FaceTime coaching through that process. So the whole entire thing I was doing via FaceTime. So I couldn't even do anything. If you guys have ever felt like you're watching a movie and you really can't physically do anything, but coaching from FaceTime is definitely a thing of 2021.
Dude, the power of technology. First of all, being there and knowing you're not in control and all the anxiety, not being there.
Exactly.
And the level of anxiety, dude.
I can imagine.
Yeah, absolutely.
And having a baby with you?
Yeah, man, that's crazy. Well,
was the baby with you or?
Yep. Yeah. So just with the way that it worked out, I have at Grand Canyon have the ability to have an assistant coach as well as a spirit programs manager who can really help around. Where my wife with University of Oklahoma, the situation was just a little bit different, and it just worked out that she needed to be able to go to nationals with the University of Oklahoma. She has two teams. I have just the one big giant team. And it just worked out that I got to be, daddy from home. So it was a great bonding time for my daughter and I, and super happy about it.
Wait, hold on one second. So, I'm going to get into our first talking point. I got one thing. So your wife had a baby January 5th, and she took her two teams from University of Oklahoma to nationals. And then you stayed home and coached your team from home with the babe newborn. Dude, my anxiety just raised a little bit.
I know, and you gotta imagine too, and I'm sure as a first-time dad, you guys can remember where it was where you're just like, all right, just don't mess this up. Keep the baby alive, don't mess this up. And then you're like, all right, just hitting prelims, don't drop, watch that sign, our voice is loud enough. And just thinking about that, it was just the craziest thing. But I'm glad that we got to be able to do that, and my wife's a rock star. So
dude, you'll never forget that. And kudos to Oklahoma, man. What a great showing.
Yeah, for real.
So good. Boomer Sooner.
Yep.
Yeah, that's awesome, dude. Well, dude, we've gotten to know just a little bit right here, but do something, man. Keegan, tell us about your career up to now. We were talking a little bit before the show about, kind of your background, but just tell us about you, where you're from, your part in the sport up to this point, and where we to where we are now.
Sure. Yeah. Well, so I started my career in Orlando, Florida, with UCF, University of Central Florida, out in Orlando under Linda Gooch there, and started in 2006. Cheered from there, 2006, 2010. Got a national championship ring in that 06, 07 era, and then just started doing UCA staff. Did UCA staff all the way through. Let's see. It was 11 years. I was a state director for 6 years here in Arizona, and just absolutely loved the UCA. After UCF, my career actually started coaching wise at University of South Florida. They also had a great showing. I was a part of the program of actually trying to bring more guys back into the program. They were talking about competing. So for 3 years, we were building up the program. We went from about 3 guys when I first got there to 13. So for them to win 2 national championships back to back, I'm not saying that I had anything to do with those ones, but I was like, you know what? I'm glad that we started that back in the day. So super glad. And then from there, GCU had actually reached out. I was doing UCA staff and was out in Santa Barbara where GCU goes to camp, does all that. So I was their big brother for a good couple of years. The team was under Emily Stevens at the time. And from that point on, it was just one of those things, just like, hey, you want a job out here in Arizona? Went out to Arizona and have been there for, this is my 7th year. So, and this is my 2nd year as the head coach. Coach Emily Stevens stepped down the other year. But yeah, this is my 2nd year as the head coach, but total 7 years.
Very
wow,
cool.
dude. That's a
national title, or
say one more time, sorry.
is this their first national title?
No, actually last year was the first national title for them. We won the small co-ed D1A. Then UCA does a great job of sometimes putting divisions here, sometimes divisions here. It's just kind of a coin toss at that point. But for that year, it was D1 and D1A small co-ed. So we won that last year during COVID.
Okay.
And then this year we got that game day national championship. So 2, my hands got to make some room in my hands now.
That's right. Congratulations,
dude.
man.
That's awesome.
Thanks,
so do something for us, man. Tell us about this moment. I've been kind of airing in the background right here. Tell us about the win. Just tell us the feeling for this group.
Man, so this was actually 3 years in the making. And when I say 3 years in the making, we've been chasing that game day championship for these past 3 years, basically since the inception of the game day division. Mm-hmm. We have just been cracking away trying to, break that ceiling that, UCA has sometimes, of trying to figure out the scoring, could we have done better with some of our skills, and just trying to, decipher all that. So what that is right there is an accumulation of 4-year seniors, and actually the one holding the flag there, she's a 5th-year senior, has been chasing that for all these years. So for us, it was just an accumulation of all that we do at our basketball games. We're just a basketball school, and that's the crazy part of it.
Wow.
Is we went so hard. We go so hard at home for our basketball season that we just brought that same energy every single year. And this year it worked out, and it was great.
Dude, that's phenomenal. Because here's the thing about UCA, a lot of people don't realize that especially that game day division that's really, I think, brought a lot more participation back to UCA, is that competition's competition, and competition at the collegiate level. Like a lot of people, for so long, when game day first came around, it was kind of like that thing that people were like, oh, well, it's not traditional, this. But if you watch the competition of what everybody looked like in those divisions, you're talking about very little margin of error between the top teams. Like we're talking like it was really close. It could have gone any way. So, I mean, kudos to you guys for not only like getting it this year, getting back to back, but we watched some of those other teams that you guys competed against. It was tight. So congratulations.
We're all good. All very, very close. And for me, I love seeing the traditional. To me, they call the other style traditional, and I feel like game day is the traditional style of cheerleading, where
right.
See these, especially at the university level, where we see these traditions at these schools that have been there since the beginning of time, since these fight songs and some of these traditions that, I don't know, to me, I love the division, and to win that division would be a huge honor. And so I think you guys would be super proud of it,
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, thanks. You appreciate it. It was definitely one of those things that for us, it was, showing showing what GCU is all about. And we always say that we're just a little bit extra. If you guys have ever Googled GCU Havocs, our student section back at home, it's the most ridiculous thing. And I think the cool thing with the game day division is there's no difficulty. There's not a difficulty score.
Right.
So if you're looking at that, it's one of those things of like, it is sheer entertainment and of what you are actually doing through your job. So saying about traditional wise, it's like, and we can talk about that all day, but of like the normal time of when we go out, when's the last time that you were in the middle of something and you actually stopped cheering and you said, everybody on this side yell green, green, or something like that. So the thing, actually a sideline is something that you would normally do. And your fight song is something that you traditionally do. That's probably the more traditional side of it than the competition side of it. Not that we don't like doing both.
Well, walk us through that game day routine and some of the traditions that you guys plug in there and how that kind of helped you win that championship.
Sure. So similar to a game or a traditional mat, we usually just call it mat, is it still that 2 minutes, 30 seconds that you have, and it goes in a particular order this year. And I think they actually have done a great job. UCA and varsity has done a great job of rearranging how that goes. Before it was kind of, you pull a name out of a hat basically, and you say, okay, which one's going to be first? Fight song, sideline, and then this timeout, where this year is a set order, which I think was great. So this year it was fight song, and fight song is, the dance that you guys do, the band chant that you guys normally do every single time, score a touchdown, beginning of a game, end of a game. Then second is that sideline that could be an offense or a defense. They don't do general. So the announcer makes an announcement of saying, oh, it looks like the Lopes need to score in this next play. The cheerleaders at that point would then go into a offensive sideline and then going from there. Then finally, the last piece of the puzzle. So there's 3 different sections, right? Fight song, sideline, and then the last one is the actual timeout. So something that you would normally do during your either 30-second timeout or a full timeout at halftime. So those ones, that's really the only time that we would really include our pyramids and then kind of stunts in between there. But for us, this timeout was one of the most special ones because we actually do a thing before every single basketball game called the Purple Pregame Party, and nice alliteration there for you. We actually take all of our flags and we basically do this crazy running formation with all of our flags. It's just basically a huge giant party going into it, and we brought that this year for our timeout, and it was just absolutely amazing.
Cool.
That's cool. Well, and it's cool to see the things that you guys are used to doing at games or the things you are doing at your school. Because what you did was you didn't just compete as a team; you competed a part of your school on the mat. You like something that is a part of what
absolutely
belongs to you. That's what's really cool about you guys taking that and winning is you took something that was a part of your traditions with you. I like that.
And
that's really cool, man.
Your administration can look at and understand. They see traditional cheerleading and they go, what are they doing and why? But they see game day and they go, oh, we see them do that every week.
Right. Yeah. That helps when you're having that administration with you or other people at your school who don't understand really necessarily the scoring. They see y'all do that. That's pretty awesome. Well, dude, I want to know something. What's your coaching philosophy? I mean, obviously you come from if I remember correctly, the 06-07 year, that was the first real Topple, Kentucky year in a while. I remember that routine you guys did. I remember, so you come from a tradition of national championship wins and programs where you've got to have some solid, coaching philosophy on how you approach a team in any division. So what's your coaching philosophy? What do you think, and how do you think that had an impact on getting you guys ready for the championship?
I would say that my philosophy for coaching, especially in a competition type phase, is something of no more, no less. I think, and most coaches, I believe, can really relate to that as well, is we've had plenty of times at basketball games, at football games, where you're sitting there and, you tell your team it's not acceptable to drop. Like, we are in front of the people that know us the most. We're in front of our alumni. We're in front of our student body, our administration, and all of that. And we know, and we have those high expectations. So when we go into that competition setting, for me, it's no more, no less. Do what you do. We seal the mat. We say that these 9 panels are just us. This is just us at home at our normal practice facility doing it. So for me, coaching wise as a whole, I would say that I'd rather coach athletes that to be good people as opposed to just good athletes, because we can get athletes anywhere, but to actually help. And because really, once we coach kids and athletes to be good people, when it comes to those hard situations, where it comes to injuries, when it comes to COVID, we can then fall back on our roots, which is, be good people, love each other, support each other, and then adapt and overcome. So I think for me, it's definitely making sure that you're making good athlete or good people before you're making good athletes, because that just kind of goes hand in hand. And then no more, no less. When we go out there, we're doing exactly what we're doing, the same energy that we bring into every single basketball game.
Yeah, dude, I love that. What's the future? If you had to tell people out there, our listeners, this, what's the future next steps? You mentioned COVID, other struggles.
Everybody's had to adapt.
Everybody's had to,
Oof.
the recruiting and all kinds of different things is different. But what do you say now, like the future for your program for GCU, the building of that? What do you see happening?
The building for GCU has been something over the past couple of years, and I've only been there 7 years. And the program really is at a pretty young phase. It's only been around maybe close to 12, 13 years. So I'm still on the front end of it. And I think this is one of the great things. And, we've heard of programs, I came from a program like UCF, who's had a long history. You got guys like Kentucky, Tennessee, where they've been around since the 1920s. Where we've only been around since the early 2000s. And I think that's the craziest thing ever. So for me, it's building those traditions and everything going into it. So when I first got there, maybe the team was about 15. And this year in 2021, we had 53 on our team roster. So, and of those 53, probably about 98% of those are scholarship athletes.
Wow. Oh, wow.
Yep.
Wow.
So for us, yeah, and that's a whole nother topic of just the amount of support that we get for GCU. But the more and more that we can help support those athletes, like everything else in our NCAA division, as far as our school goes, that's what we're really looking for is that support. So then we can be taken a little bit seriously, and then those kids take it more seriously, and then go on from there.
Absolutely,
dude, that's really cool. That's a lot of support to have. That to have a scholarship.
Is out of state a thing or?
Oh yeah, so for us, GCU doesn't have in-state or out-of-state, which is great because it's just a flat price all the way through. So most of our seniors, where I think this year we had about 15 seniors, and all of them were completely full rides. So housing, all of that completely paid for. Yeah, it's crazy. I wish I would have had that at UCF, and that's nothing against at UCF, but and I'm sure they're funding.
Dude, I would have come to GCU. Come on, are you kidding?
Right, exactly.
You heard it here first on Cheer Guys. Go check them out if you want a full ride. If you can earn it and you can be one of their best top ones, and man, that's
wow. That's because there's
for athletes.
Yeah, there's not. I always tell I'm in Georgia, and have done every level of the sport. Top to bottom in every way. And I always tell people there's less than a handful of colleges anywhere in the country that give full rides, even one full ride. There's less than a handful. I guess I got to say there's about 6 now because I can name those handful, and GCU's not one of them. So, wow, yeah, man, that's great.
Awesome.
Yeah. And isn't that wild too? Because we see such great, and we really like, and, we all just watched the national championship for football. And, I think we all had that same conversation of like, okay, well, they have great scholarships, so they bring great athletes in. Those athletes win, and then people want to go to that school because they're doing well and they're succeeding. So in my mind, for some of the other schools that I've been a part of or just seen, that it's one of the things where you're like, man, I really wish that they just had better funding or they just had better support. So then more athletes would come and then you would do well at competition. And then, so it's just kind of one of those goes all hand in hand.
Right. That's awesome, dude. Well, dude, tell us this. How do you recruit? How do you pull people in? What's your social media? How can we point more athletes towards you, and other than, hey, if you want a full ride, right. how do we get them your way?
For us, surprisingly enough, through COVID, actually through that whole entire shutdown, I think one of the craziest things that we did was we started TikTok. We got hardcore into the TikTok. If you guys look us up on GCU Cheerleaders, all one word, we're one of the higher I don't even know that many teams that have TikToks, but we're so close to getting verified. But weirdly enough, recruiting wise, that has been absolutely amazing. We've gotten comments. I've talked to people from international schools that want to now come to GCU just because of the exposure. I mean, you're just sitting there on there, 15 hours a day, if you're anything like me. And you're just flipping through there and looking, and it's so centralized towards that. So certainly Instagram, we get, and I think this is a trend now that we have athletes who are working in some of our local and even some all the way in Ohio, that they are actually tagging us in their skills video with the people that they're doing lessons with, and it just says GCU cheerleaders at the bottom. And it could have Ohio State and everything else at the bottom as well. But they're doing such a good job of reaching out now with social media. So social media, follow us on Instagram and TikTok.
Very cool.
Absolutely, man. Everybody heard it here. You want to get in with GCU. I mean, dude, legacy background on your part, obvious talent that you've recruited and given, been able to give those scholarships to go on to win a national championship. So, congratulations again. And Chase, do you have, anything else you want to talk through?
Yeah, it was just so nice to meet you because, I see you guys now, you and Miranda, power couple, brand new baby, power couple in cheerleading.
Yeah. I mean, literally.
If you want to go down there and learn from some of the best, this is a great opportunity, and get paid school, guys. You don't understand what that is. I mean, that's huge.
Yeah, it is.
Us old people, we understand. So we really appreciate you spending your time today and telling us about all of that. And if there's anything else last minute that we can help you with, any clinics coming up or things that you'd like to plug in here, you can.
Yeah, absolutely. We have 2 tryout clinics coming up, March 5th and March 26th. Those ones are just so specified for, and I feel like, we have stunt clinics and everybody loves those, but that sometimes you can get 130 kids coming in, where our March 5th and March 26th tryout clinics will really specify, since we are such a big game day school, of the things that you really need to work on. So it's a one-on-one, an easier ratio to kind of deal with as far as instruction goes. And then our tryouts are usually the first or second week in April, but we should be posting those after the hangover from nationals has worn off. And then I'll go ahead and put that in. But yep, it's usually in the first or second week in April.
Awesome. Good deal, man. Yeah, definitely going to push people y'all's way. We're going to be posting a lot once we start getting this thing out to everybody. We want everyone to meet you, hear what you're saying about the school, and definitely let them get this knowledge so they can be a part of that. So, let's go.